a lot of conflicting studies on fasted cardio. Some say it helps you burn fat, some say it does nothing, and others say it actually helps you burn carbohydrates and not fat. In this video, I'm going to give you my opinion on fasted cardio and whether it really works to burn fat or not, and if it does, how to do it properly. Based on my experience, both with myself personally and with clients, I do believe that fasted cardio can help you lose weight, both in direct ways and indirect ways. So let's take a look at both. First, let's look at the direct way that fasted cardio can help you lose weight. So if you're doing it in the morning, which is what I personally recommend, your insulin and your glycogen stores are both going to be low. This will allow your body to tap into its alternate fuel source, which is fat. If you don't already know this, your body has two sources of fuel. One is glucose, which is essentially sugar, and it's stored in a form called glycogen. The other fuel source is basically your fat. The triglyceride stores are broken down and turned into ketone bodies in the liver. Keto is a whole other video that we can get into on another day, but essentially that's how your body works. There's two options. There's glucose or there's ketones. And when we wake up in the morning, we have been fasting overnight. We haven't eaten. That's why breakfast is called breakfast. Break fast, by the way. But when we wake up in the morning, we haven't been taking in any carbohydrates or any glucose, and our glycogen stores are pretty low. And what that allows is your body to then start to tap into those fat stores. Once that glycogen gets too low, it needs another fuel source, it's going to turn to your fat. That's the mechanism of action of why fasted cardio can help you lose fat. Now let's look at the indirect effects. So when you're incorporating a morning fasted workout into your routine, you will naturally end up with a compressed feeding window, also known as intermittent fasting. There are loads of studies out there that show that intermittent fasting is really effective for weight loss. First, let's look at an actual case study of mine. So I have a professional athlete that I work with, and when he came to me, he said that one of his main goals were to lose body fat while maintaining his muscle mass and maintaining strength and performance, which is crucial, obviously, if you're a professional athlete. So I put him on a fasted cardio routine, and part of this was intermittent fasting. What I had him do was to simply stop eating after dinner around 7 p.m. The next morning, he would wake up around 7 and do his fasted cardio, and then have breakfast after around 9. So he had about a 14-hour compressed feeding window. Ultimately, he has lost about a half a pound a week for the past 3 months. He currently is the leanest he's ever been in his life and has maintained his strength, muscle mass, and performance. But before you get any wild ideas about what fasted cardio looks like and picture me having him do crazy CrossFit workouts every morning, let me tell you what I actually had him do for his fasted cardio. I asked him to simply go for a walk outside when he woke up in the morning. There's multiple reasons for this. One is to help reset the circadian rhythm by having him expose his eyes to sunlight early in the morning. Another one was to get some fresh air, get out in nature, and then finally the obvious, the fasted cardio. So fasted cardio doesn't need to be intense for you to have to lose weight. It's that combination of benefits that we see from the direct and the indirect, where we're coupling up tapping into those fat stores when we are using up calories for our workout, and that indirect effect where we see that compressed feeding window, which we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Now with my athlete, if we didn't see weight loss with his simple morning walks, I was going to take it up a notch and ask him to potentially do some jogging as part of it. But this will show you that fasted cardio doesn't have to be anything intense or crazy. It can be as simple as going for a walk or potentially even going for a jog. In fact, I would actually even recommend that you not do high intensity interval training or something really intense in the morning for your fasted workouts, at least not on a regular basis. This can end up spiking your cortisol. And what cortisol does is it helps you hold on to stubborn belly fat, which is obviously the opposite of what we want to do when we're talking about using fasted cardio for weight loss. Let's talk a little bit more about that intermittent fasting that I mentioned previously. There's a second indirect effect that we see from compressed feeding windows. Another indirect effect of fasted cardio is a lower calorie intake. In a 2019 study in the Journal of Nutrition, researchers separated men into a fasted cardio group and a fed cardio group. They found that the group that they put into the fasted cardio naturally adopted an intermittent fasting window. It makes sense. If you can't eat when you wake up because you need to do your fasted cardio, that's going to push back your eating time and help you compress that feeding window like we talked about a minute ago. In the fasted cardio group of men, the researchers noticed that these men actually ended up eating 400 calories a day less than the other group. This 400 calorie deficit actually led to a pound a week weight loss. Okay, so by now you're probably pretty convinced that fasted cardio is a good idea, and it can be pretty simple. You can just go for a walk, go for a jog. You also probably understand now that one of the main benefits is that compressed feeding window. So let's take the two, put them together, and figure out exactly how you can get started doing fasted cardio today. This is where I feel bio-individuality is really important. If you're new here, hi, I'm big on bio-individuality, which means that everyone is different. What works right for you might not work right for someone else. So you've got to figure out what works best for you, but I can give you some parameters to start with, and then you can customize from there. Right off the bat, I can tell you one group that should not be doing fasted cardio is women with severe adrenal fatigue. If your adrenals are already really taxed, they simply cannot handle too much of a compressed feeding window, and they certainly can't handle fasted cardio. So if that's you, you've got to sit this one out while you heal your adrenals, and then you can give it a try. So again, everyone is different, but what I typically recommend you start with is that morning fasted cardio like I talked about. You are going to wake up in the morning, get your workout out of the way so you don't have to think about it, and then you can have a nice breakfast after your workout. That might not work for your schedule or your body, and so you can play around with what works best for you, but I found that's the easiest way to incorporate a fasted workout. I also recommend that you start with at least a 12-hour restricted feeding window. So what that would look like is you're done eating at 7 at night, don't eat again until 7 in the morning. Or if you're done at 8 at night, you eat at 8 in the morning. Once you feel like you've mastered that 12-hour feeding window, you can start pushing that back a little bit, closer to 14, 15, maybe even 16 or 17. I usually am done eating around 6 or 7 at night, and then I usually don't eat the next morning until 9 or 10 a.m. after my morning workout. Another guideline that you can use to get started is the time limit on your fasted workout. So I recommend that people start with about a half hour so they can see how that makes them feel, how it works for them. If you feel really wiped out, then you might not be ready for fasted cardio at this point. But if you feel great with a half-hour fasted cardio, you can slowly work your way up to 45 minutes and then to an hour. One caveat on that, however, is that I would cap it at an hour. Research shows optimal benefits stop around an hour of fasted cardio. When you go too far beyond that, you're tapping too much into those glycolytic stores and you can end up with some fatigue after. So there you have it. It's pretty simple. If you want to give fasted cardio a try, go for a walk in the morning. Start with around a half hour, work your way up. Start with something light like a walk, work your way up to a jog or even a light run. Keep it around a half hour to an hour and try to compress that feeding window. 12 to 16 hours is a really good sweet spot for most people. I hope you found this helpful. If you've done fasted cardio, I want to hear about it. Give me a comment below. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe and the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos.